Okay, we're live. At least according to this, we're live.
Yep, it says live.
Yep.
Happy Turkey Day.
Hey,
I don't even know if there's anybody here yet.
I
yeah,
can't tell. I don't have that part
I
working.
don't see anybody in the live stream, and nobody on the board yet. Yeah,
It'll take them a few minutes.
You did put a notification up, right?
Yep, I sure did.
Yeah. yeah. I was going to send something out this morning, and I got busy.
You did
And,
put a notification up, right?
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay. No, I had to turn the volume down. Hey, West Virginia Prepared. Welcome.
hey, Kim made it. Hi, Kim.
Elish. Hello. Wait for a few more people to show up here before we get started. We got 4 inside so far.
Yeah, we got West Virginia Prepared. Hello. And then Elise, I got. Besides us. I better like this thing.
No, I was talking to Josh. He's not sure whether he's going to make it or not. He's going to try. He may be little bit late.
Okay, we got 8 people in here at the moment, at least according to what I've got.
That's what I got, yep.
Yeah, I see 8.
Einstein.
Einstein's mom. Hello.
Yeah, I see 8 and 6 thumbs up.
That's good. That's better than normal. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started then. Tonight's topic is kind of an oddball topic, but it helps especially newer people get in and understand why and the reasons why us old timers are actually doing things. Although zombies are more fiction than fact, it has happened in the past. I'm going to share a screen here. If it'll come up, there it is. And if you look over on this side of it, hopefully it shows up. Give it a second. There it is. If you look over on the right side where my next, don't read the red box. Read what's next to it. It is ConPlan 8888 or defense. You know more better what it's called, Gil, than I do because it's kind of your alley. It's
Trying to read it here.
Let me scroll it up so you can see the name of it. Hold on.
Can you enlarge it a little bit?
Not really.
Not really.
Okay.
ConPlan 8888. Headquarters of the United States Strategic Command. This was done initially as a for the joint military officers, a training.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, U.S. Stratcom decided that, you know what, there's a lot of it that actually pertains what is actually real to, in real world environments of various situations. So, I mean, they've decided to actually make this a full-fledged plan, not just a, contingency plan.
Right.
So I'm going to unshare that one now. There. Okay. And that's not the only thing. If you go back and do a search, history search, go to 1599, London, England. A meteorite crashed on the outside skirts of London, and a spore or some sort was released when it crashed. It mutated slightly and caused a zombie run in England. Didn't last very long, but the point is, well, nowadays we don't see zombies as a real thing because medically we're far more advanced than we were back then. Technologically, we're far more advanced. But it has happened in the past, and that's what got some of us old timers to thinking, just because this may not be true, we should prepare. And in preparing for zombies, which again seems strange to the newer people, you actually prepare for virtually every single thing that there is, because in a zombie apocalypse, everything that we've discussed, power outages long-term, lack of food long-term, cold environments long-term, all these things that we've discussed in various areas are basically all incorporated into one scenario. That's why there's a fascination. People see zombie apocalypse as a way to gain control over something because they are at the top of the food chain at that point in time. And it's a mental exercise. So I'm going to shut up and let Gil talk because he knows more about the strategic side of it than I do.
Yeah, well, you were spot on in saying to plan for everything. Let's see, I'm trying to find something here. Oh, it's not cooperating on the other side. In my previous life as the Homeland Security Emergency Management Coordinator, I created what was called the base plan, a simple, basic foundation plan, if you will, for everything else to be built off of. And then off of that base plan, you had stuff like for a pandemic or infectious disease, which is sort of like what that zombie thing in was it 1588 or 1599 in England?
1599.
1599, which is basically what that was. That was a bacterial virus thing that affected the minds of the people then and made them act like zombies and gave them almost like rabies. And that's what a lot of scientists now are talking about, like zombies. If something like that happened, it's the reason why it's passed like they're doing the TV series and stuff like that by bites, because it passed the same way as rabies does. But going back to the base plan, so we had one for pandemics, one for infectious disease, one for hijackings, not only planes but trains, ferries, commuter rail systems like BART in the San Francisco Bay Area Rapid Transit System or the New York subway. We had wildfires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, urban wildfires, which is different than a regular wildfire. An urban wildfire is where you get a firestorm going in residential areas. And that's where it starts. It doesn't come in from the outside. There were like 43 different plans that I wrote up for them. And so everyone, don't freak out. You don't have to have all 43 plans right away. It took me 5 years to get those plans set up after 9/11. So in setting up your plans and planning for things, you need to start with the basics. But you got to realize you're not just aiming at one specific thing, because in my base plan, it had a lot of supplies, and then for each of these other plans or these tactical response plans, there's just a couple things added. What are you going to do with this? Okay, for the infectious disease, we're going to need the Tyvek suits. We're going to need HEPA filters. We're going to need that little stuff there. And then when we got to pandemics, it's like, wait a minute, we can still use some of the things from infectious disease for the pandemics and then add a few more things to it. And then for wildfires, it was like, oh, we need this, we need extra stuff, this, and this. And then we came to earthquakes. Wait a minute, we got some of that stuff already now because we have the wildfire plan. We'll just use some of those things for this. That way you're not doubling up and tripling up on the supplies that you don't need to do that on. That way you keep your supplies organized into whatever it is you need on hand. You just work one step at a time. Is that what you wanted?
That gets the ball rolling. So you got anything you want to add there, Will, or are you just going to sit there for a minute and listen?
I'm kind of listening right now.
All righty. We'll let you eat them popsicles and play with the puppy.
There you go. Yeah, the dog doesn't know what to think about my hat.
I don't either. Anywho, so the basic thought, being prepared for zombies, you get, and there's a lot of hyperbole to it. Shows like The Walking Dead portray being able to survive pretty minimally when a lot of what they show in those TV shows is not fact. It's fake as heck. So learning to prepare to, for such things, you start thinking, well, you know what? I'm not going to really deal with that. But by George, I'm glad I got this because that dang tornado went through here a couple months ago and I had everything I needed. Maybe I should start branching out into some other stuff. And I'm trying to say it in a way that keeps me somewhat friendly, but doesn't, you know.
The thing is, everybody has their own. Now I went blank. Has their own disasters in their area wherever they live. And
Right.
if you collect for that, plus the EMP attacks or the Kiowaki thing, then you're doing okay. But you don't want to just overload yourself and say, "Hey, I'm gonna collect it all right now." Is you do little steps along the way. If you do that, like Gil says, just do little steps at a time. Don't let it overwhelm you. Yeah, like in your area, say like where I live, we have a lot of tornadoes. So what we do is we prepare for, say, a tornado goes through and levels out the little city that I live in. If you have everything to take care of yourself and your family, or maybe your neighbors around you, then that's cool. But now that you got all that stuff, you need to start thinking about bigger things like taking care of yourself during an EMP attack. Work on just that one thing until you get it all complete. Then move on to the next thing and say, oh, what if we have a biological attack? Then collect stuff for that thing. And if you do that in small steps, then eventually everything you need is going to be there.
Yep, exactly. I'm going to throw another link up there. I threw up a link to a video I did, a 3-part series on planning for emergencies.
Okay.
I'm going to throw up the original DHS PowerPoint presentation I did, and it's online. Where am I at here? Wrong one. Just back open here. There we go. And okay, what I put through up here is at the Asset Center's website. It's everything on that website is free. Tons of information, tons of documents, even some discontinued FEMA training for household hazmat. I got on there, but I put on there is it says the Asset Center. It's from when I did it for the Shelley Ready Preparedness Fair. You go in there, it's a PowerPoint. You can pull that PowerPoint down. Granted, you don't have me there talking at you, but if you have it up while you watch the other video, it all kind of fits together. But if you notice if you go in there and look at it, you'll notice I list off from A to Z all sorts of different emergencies to plan for. You know, simple accidents, death in the family, fuel shortages, and it goes through. And the last thing that's on there is zombie apocalypse. Just because of this point, and which document had up there from the Strategic Command. It's if you can plan for a zombie apocalypse, you're covered for just about everything because you got infectious disease, you got a pandemic, you got food shortage, you got all sorts of things going down, because of a zombie apocalypse.
Well, it's like I think Jay was saying, we already have The Walking Dead right now. All the young people that just walk around with their face glued to their device. They're not looking up; they're looking down.
Yeah, but if the cattle prod, they'll wake up real quick.
I hope so.
Or if they're walking through the mall and they happen to fall in the fountain, like so many of them have done and there's tons of videos out them doing it, walking along, and they fall into the fountain because they're not paying attention where they're walking.
Yeah, they don't even need bath salts for that.
Yep.
I'm not even sure if something came up and nudged them or cattle prodded them, if they would know what to do if it happened anyway.
I would beg to differ because I was hit with a cattle prod once by my stepbrother. And we're not talking one of them little teeny ones about yay big. We're talking the one that held 6D batteries, about 5 foot long, and it was kind of used to move a Brahma bull.
Had a little fork on the end of it.
My stepdad used to haul cattle, and he had a bunch of those, even though they were slightly illegal. And I got hit with one of them. I don't care who you are, you will move.
And after that, your tongue will taste iron for the next 10 minutes.
Yep. It's very disgusting. It's almost enough to make you puke.
Yep.
No, friends, you're not all idiots. No, that's not the point. There are a lot of people, though, who live in under Cooper color code would be white. They pay no attention to their outside surroundings. They stick there and they're, like this all day.
Yeah.
Their kids are running around like chickens with their head cut off. Nobody's supervising them.
Their situational awareness.
And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's everybody either. There are a lot of good people out there who, they work their phones, but they're still paying attention to what's going on around them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was funny. There's one person walked off the curb right in front of the traffic. Everybody hit the brakes, honked at him. He was like he was going to get mad at him, and then he realized, oh, crud, I'm out in the street.
Yep, there's been a lot of people hit by cars because they weren't paying attention.
Yep.
Comes down to what Steve was talking about in his video, situational awareness.
Oh, exactly.
Yep. And that's go ahead.
Yeah, Steve at Corsairs Trainer. He's in the chat there, guys. Check him out. He's really good. He did one on situational awareness and becoming aware of your surroundings. And then today, Anthony at Palmetto. I always screw up pronouncing it.
Palmetto Prepared.
That's it. I get tongue-tied. He did one on the same thing, only for when you're not in the city, like out in the country or wherever. Be aware of what plants there are around you, what trees, what animals, stuff like that. Do your situational awareness out there, because if you have to evacuate the city, guess what, guys? You're going to be out there in Anthony's world.
Yep. Landmarks. We out here in the middle of nowhere go by landmarks.
Yeah.
If once you get outside the city, there's nothing for miles and miles. So what we go off of is landmarks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We know the big old tree with a crooked fork on the left there is the beginning to the driveway back to the hill over yonder that gets us to the pond that nobody knows about that's got 10-inch bass sitting in it.
Yeah. Or if you're in a dry creek bed, walking a dry creek bed, and you see a green, really lush green bush off to the side, it's like, ooh, if I dig a foot down, I'm going to hit water.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically, zombies are real. I believe it's just a different kind of real.
Yeah. Well, there's also the original type zombie, which was practiced by the voodoo witch doctors, which is a drug-induced state where everyone thought the person was dead because their heart rate, everything slowed down so much. They buried them. And immediately afterwards, the voodoo doctor went out there, dug them back up, gave them the antidote or something or other, but they were still in a weird, altered state of mind. And well, sort of like at the students at UC Berkeley. Hey, I used to work right next to it. They are in an altered state of mind. But the guy would be quote rised from the dead, and he's walking through town. And scaring the crud out of everybody, and the witch doctor comes out and does whatever he does to get rid of them. But so there's been that type of zombie as well. But who knows what some rogue research doctor somewhere are doing to come up with. It may not be as like it is where, we got to eat brains and everything else, and we can't die unless you cut our heads off type thing. But who knows what sort of virus thing will be invented and released accidentally or on purpose that may cause something like that. It's not a true zombie anything, but it is a zombie type, parameters.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise. What we perceive in the movies is not necessarily exactly what's happening.
Right.
Hollywood likes to glamorize everything. I mean, like in The Walking Dead, Daryl's crossbow. You never see him cock it. You never see him load it, but he's shooting it like crazy. Unfortunately, the one he's got, you don't move that quick. It's a pain in the butt. It's a 440-pound crossbow. I can't do it. It takes a crank. So Hollywood likes to glamorize everything, and they don't put a lot of fact in it.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like
it's
Jay
like-
said, 28 days later, you know, a mutant rabies virus, which is what happened at 1599 in London, England. You know,
Yeah.
That's
Well,
kind of. And go ahead.
even more known than that, the big Spanish flu outbreak. Okay, it appeared within 30 days after a meteor shower, and it appeared the same virus in parts of the world that had no contact, such as up with the Eskimos out in the middle of outback Alaska, where nobody was coming to around them. They came down with the same virus. So, you know, there are a lot of scientists that blame the Spanish flu on the meteor shower, some of the stuff coming down with it, you know, because there are all sorts of bacteria they know live out in space that survive on the bits of rock and stuff out there.
Yeah, and it just lays dormant.
Yeah, and when it comes to Earth, boom, ooh, I'm in a perfect environment to go wild. And the other thing too about that is the most people that were affected by it were not the old and were not the young. They were indoors. It was everybody else going outside, doing out activities, going around, doing whatever they were doing that got hit with the Spanish flu. And then it got transmitted one person to another afterwards. But the first ones coming down with it were those that were outside, which really can make you a little nervous. Of course, I think it's just after Christmas.
It's them damn chemtrails.
Nah, this is much worse. Like just after Christmas, we have that one asteroid passing really close to the Earth, and a small meteor shower with it as well. But yeah, there are specific meteor showers that they clock that come around. Some come around every year. Some come around every 5 years. Some come around
every year.
Yeah, and there's some of them that come. You know, I think it's like every 25 years. It's the same one that supposedly the Spanish flu came from. So it just was whether or not we're in the right spot on the orbit when it goes by, whether or not we get nailed with it.
Right, and the meteorite that actually hit in 1599 wasn't all that big. It was pretty darn small compared to what we've seen in this day and age.
Yeah.
Even if our own government wanted to launch some sort of virus that would do some sort of population control, all they would have to do is release it down to the homeless, and because the homeless, they come in contact with a lot of things, and then it would go viral from there. You know, I mean, they just take whatever they use and throw it down, or they put their hands all over the place, you know, and other people could pick it up, and it'd be just started by that, you know, and
yeah.
it would take them forever to figure out where it started, you know.
Well, I might step on Gil's toe here, but if I do, I'm sorry. But Department of Homeland Security has moved Plum Island's old chemical testing facility from New York State to the middle of the country. And that's where they test this stuff. I mean, not that any of it's ever going to get out, and I pray it never does, because, you know, heaven forbid it gets out, that whole town's gone. But that's where they test us. So if there was some nefarious element of our government that was willing to do that, they're already now in the prime location to do such a thing, because they're now in the middle of smack right dab in the middle of the country.
Another reason to keep Hillary out of office.
Yep.
Anyways, back on a side chat here. I can't pronounce. It's JAEUFM.
Everybody just called him Jay.
Hey, Jay. So he said he never heard of the Inuits getting Spanish flu. The reason why it wasn't much publicized is because there was only a couple of the tribes or whatever the groups are called up there that got it, and by the time anybody got to them, it had already worked its way through those that were going to catch it, and they had they lost like a quarter of their population, but it wasn't that big of a deal compared to the rest of the world, so it didn't get published. I found out about it 6 years ago, when a scientific team was going up there to disinter the bodies that passed away from it to verify that it was what it was that took out a quarter of these tribes, and they found out it was Spanish flu, but it wasn't mainstream newsworthy to get it out there to everybody. It was very, very, it was on the news for maybe half a day. And I don't even think CNN even covered it.
No, most news stations don't cover anything like that because it could cause mass panic if people knew the truth.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I mean, if the entire public knew that there's a chance that some stray chemical microbe from space coming down out of the 48.5 metric tons of space or space debris that comes into the Earth's atmosphere, there would be panic because people would start freaking out.
We'd be building dome cities everywhere.
Yeah, or moving underground, and I prefer to go underground, even though it's still not 100% protection, but still, I'd rather be underground.
We could go to California because they don't have chemtrails there.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, look at Steve's house. He don't have any chemtrails there.
They're afraid to spray above him.
Yeah. Hey.
They're afraid he'll put it on YouTube.
Yeah, but they spray over UC Berkeley.
Mm-hmm. They spray over my house.
Oh, you live in Ohio.
Yep. I also live right south of Wright Pat Air Force Base. And it is a first hit target in an all-out nuclear war. So if they go nukes and nukes hit the ground, I ain't got nothing to worry about. I ain't going to feel a dang thing.
Well, anybody that lives anywhere near a nuclear facility will be gone because they'll hit all of those first.
Nope. As a rule, they'll hit military bases, government strongholds. They'll hit Cheyenne Mountain to close it. They know they can't penetrate it, but they're going to do their best to block it off so people can't get out of it. They'll hit the NORAD installations. And after that, they ain't got nothing to worry about. They can come in and run the place if they so choose. Once they hit those they ain't got to worry about the nuclear plants. Because once they hit the main places, the power will be shut off. Within 3 weeks, those will go critical. And, that's the end of that.
Jay, you could be right about that one. Jay says that I'm sure those are chemtrails over Berkeley are not smoke drifting up from all the bongs that are active on the campus.
It could be true, man. There's a lot of them there.
Nah, come on. These young kids don't do that stuff. These some that I know.
Back in the day, maybe.
Oh, it's still pretty prevalent up there because no university administrator would dare raise a stink about them doing it, afraid of violating their constitutional rights to get stoned.
They're afraid they're going to hurt their unicorn fuzzy feelings. And I really don't care about unicorn fuzzy feelings. I'm not politically correct. I try to be family friendly, but I'm not politically correct. If the bear craps in the woods, I'm going to tell you where he crapped in the woods, what color it was. And if you don't like it, walk the other direction.
Before I got married, I used to say that I was rude, crude, and socially unacceptable, but I was usually right.
That fits most preppers, actually. But most preppers are not politically correct. But I've started to see a lot of, there's no other way to put it, left people on the left side of the aisle starting to put up zombie videos. They're starting to put up prepping videos. They're putting up all these things that we've been talking about for years. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing is, every single one of them that are putting these up blast all of us saying we have no idea what we're talking about, yet they're saying the exact same thing we're saying, with the exception of one major thing. They're saying you don't need a gun to survive. And I politely asked one privately, because I didn't want to put it on his page and I didn't want to put myself out there too far. And I asked him, I said, why don't you believe a gun is necessary? He said, well, they kill people. And I said, so you're afraid of hurting somebody that's going to hurt you. What, do you got kids? He said, well, yeah. I said, okay, that's cool. I said, I got a son too. I'm not going to let nobody hurt my kid. I will pop a cap in their butt. I'll put an arrow through their head. Whatever it takes, I'm protecting my son right down to the very last possible second. Now you're going to have to kill me to kill my son. He said, well, I ain't got to worry about that. Nobody come after me. And I said, why not? You got food? He said, well, yeah, I got food. I said, you got water? He says, yeah. I said, guess what? You're one of the first targets because I know you ain't got a gun. They're coming to your house. You're gone. Your food's gone. Your family's gone. And he just kind of sat there and looked at me like I was stupid for a few minutes. But, you know, I hope I woke him up. I doubt it.
He probably didn't want to admit it. Yeah, because I've run into a few too. I walked through it. You know, well, you have all this food. Yeah, you have all your water. Yeah, you have all this. You get all your clothing. What's to stop the hungry hordes from coming and taking it all away from you?
Well, the ones that don't want
I'll get a bow. Good. All right. You're defending yourself. You got a bow and arrow. So you're going to kill somebody with a bow and arrow that's trying to hurt your family.
The ones that don't want a gun are probably going to be the best ones not to have them anyway, because they'd be dangerous if they had one.
Yeah. But anyways, I was talking to the guy going with him. And, you know, all right, so you got a bow. Well, what about a crossbow? You can shoot faster. I mean, you got faster, but you can shoot harder and longer. And he goes, yeah, I guess a bow. And so, but you still use that to kill someone that's going to hurt your family. Well, yeah, I guess I have to. So what's the difference between that and using a gun to kill someone that's trying to hurt your family, where you can actually throw more
to those yuppies? The yuppies.
He just started going. He's going. That can't be true. It can't, no. This can't be right. It can't be right. And he was going, hey, facts are facts. If you want to defend your family from starving hordes that are going to kill you, take your food, kill your children, you need a gun. A bow and arrow ain't going to cut it against the masked horde.
Well, you know, those guys like that, they don't even want a gun, but you see them out there with BB guns and pellet guns to have fun with their kids, or they have paint pistols, you know, paint guns. Yeah. You know, that's the same as having a real gun, you know.
Well, the biggest concern I have with all this, and it was already mentioned by somebody in the side chat, is all these people, you know, there are people out there that are buying their guns quietly. They're not broadcasting it because they don't want their friends and family to know I've got a gun, because that would violate their narrative. But they're not training. And there's a lot of people on the right, and then even in the center, who have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guns and have never taken the time to go out and learn how to properly use it, not only in a defensive situation, but in a hunting situation. Yeah. You know, these people are going to be a danger not only to themselves, but to everybody else, because they're gonna muzzle flash everybody. You know, they don't understand the 4 main rules. Keep the booger picker off the trigger. Never point it at something you don't intend to destroy. Know what's behind your target, and the weapon's always loaded. They don't understand those 4 key concepts. Yeah. And they're going to hurt themselves, their family, or their friends. That is at least a concern for me.
Those are the ones that'll something will come up behind them. They'll jump and turn and fire without figuring out what's there first.
Well, and that all comes down to situational awareness. It's like I've tried to explain for people who aren't situationally aware. The easiest way to do it, so you're not broadcasting that you're trying to learn it, and it's very simple. It doesn't take much time. Go for a walk in the woods. Walk as quietly as you can and listen to the wildlife around you. Without turning your head, listen to where it's at. Listen to the sounds behind you. And start counting the number of birds you hear. Try and figure out if they're over here, or if they're behind you, in front of you. Start learning to do that and as you learn to do it, you can do it without thinking about it. And you'll slowly develop the way to move from a level white to a level yellow without being paranoid. Because if you're paranoid in yellow, you're going to be so mentally exhausted at the end of the day, you're not going to be worth anything to anybody anyway. You've got to be able to be situationally aware without being mentally exhausted doing it.
Yeah, for everybody knows, in the side chat over there, Steve at Corsair Trainers, he's a firearms instructor. He teaches how to use it, how to shoot and move, not just shoot at the gun range, but how to shoot and move at the same time. He's a great guy. Check him out.
Yeah, he can shoot and chew gum at the same time.
And comb his beard, too. Yeah, what Dave was saying about walking out in the woods and listening to everything else, Also, listen to yourself as you walk, how much noise you make. You'd be surprised how many people go, I'm really quiet when I go out in the woods. And you follow them out there, it's like, geez, it sounds like a full platoon marching through here.
I learned from a native guide at 12 years old how to walk through the woods because I lived in the middle of Michigan, Mount Pleasant, and there is a tribal reservation there, the Saginaw Chippewa tribe. And I was friends. I went to school with a bunch of them. And one of the kids I went to school with, his dad was a tracker. And he taught me how to walk through the woods at an early age, making as little sound as possible. Now, I'm far, far removed from being able to do it like I did when I was a kid. But I could still walk through the woods with making almost no noise. You watch where your feet are going. You look for holes in the leaves so you don't step in leaves. It's just something you learn. Learning to be situation aware, don't worry about that part at the time. That's tactical training. But just learning to, as you're walking down the sidewalk in a city, learn to hear who's talking behind you. Don't try to hear what they're saying. Just see if you can hear their voice. Because if once you learn how to pick up a sound of a voice, you can tell if that voice is elevated, relaxed, stressed, and you can start picking that up on everybody you see in the street. You can hear car engines accelerating, decelerating. You can tell if it's making a fast swerve by the sound of the engine and the tires. You can pick all that stuff up pretty quickly once you understand how to be situationally aware. And that relates to zombies, because if it's a zombie apocalypse, you're going to have to be situationally aware or you're going to get your head eaten.
Yeah, walk through Walmart sometime. Just walk through there and listen to everybody talking. You don't have to listen in on their conversation, but if you're just listening, you can tell whether they're pissed off or they're having a good day or if they're mad because Walmart's out of toilet paper or, whatever,
Yeah.
But just doing something like that and just while you're shopping, listen,
Just don't try doing it this Friday.
Yeah, you'll go deaf.
Why not? This Friday would be a good day to try it out.
Oh,
If you're not practiced on being situational aware, do not go shopping on Black Friday. You will get run over.
Yeah, you'll be overloaded, sensory overloaded. One of the other things to do too when you're listening to people, sometimes you'll be able to hear the difference between when someone's talking softly and when they're whispering. When someone whisper is actually louder than talking softly, it carries better. So if you hear somebody's voice change into a whisper, you'll actually be able to hear them a little bit better. But, sometimes those are the ones you got to watch out for. All of a sudden, they go, hey, look at that guy up there. He's going to do this. And it's like, you got to watch out for those type. But, yeah, getting back a little bit on to the main premise of prepping for stuff. Yeah, what you need to do is for your area is look at what is the most likely event that's going to happen in your area. Is it going to be a power outage? Is it going to be a wildfire? Is it going to be winter storms that you got to worry about? Is it the hurricanes that come through your area every year? Or the tornadoes that hit a couple times a year out in the middle of Kansas and Oklahoma? Earthquakes for California and wildfires. Whatever it is, that's what you start prepping for first. You make a list of the most prevalent and put them in a hierarchy of the most prevalent and dangerous to the least likely to happen. And you start preparing for the first one.
And don't try doing everything all at once. If let's say you're new to prepping and you're living in California, and the biggest thing you got to worry about is the San Andreas Fault kicking part of California off into the ocean. Don't try buying 6 months of food, 6 months worth of containers to store water, tools, solar power, because if you do that, you'll either A, go broke so fast that your credit card companies are drooling over the amount of interest you're fixing to pay. B, you'll mentally wear yourself out to the point where you're actually unable to think straight. And neither one of those are conditions you want to be in. You pick the first thing I recommend is trying to store water. Water is the most essential thing you have to have. 1 gallon per person per day minimum. And if it's just you and somebody else, that's 2 people, that's 2 gallons per day. get a 5-gallon, one of those 5-gallon carboys. You got 2.5 days worth of water. If there's a big earthquake, that carboy and a couple packs of dehydrated or freeze-dried food can get you out of Dodge. There's your first step. Get a 72-hour kit of food, a carboy of water, a backpack to carry some other, like survival blankets and stuff like that. And don't go out and buy Maxpedition. Maxpeditions are nice. They're virtually bulletproof. Their price is very bulletproof. I mean, at least for me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. The one of the things though that most people don't realize, everyone talks about the 72-hour kit. It took me 10 years to get the guys over at FEMA to pull their head out and realize, 72 hours ain't going to cut it. Even after Katrina, where they had people out there for a week that needed to have 7 to 10 days worth of supply. The CERT program in California teaches 7 to 10 days supply at your home. Because power goes out, the pumps stop working, water pressure goes down. That. The other thing you need to do, in my humble opinion, on your hot water heater, put a one-way check valve on the inlet. Here's what I can tell you a story. What happened years and years ago, about almost 30 years ago, when I was working in construction. We were doing a job in South San Francisco. South San Francisco has street hills like this, and there's a housing tract going all up it. Well, they started at the top, and they did phase 1, and then they did phase 2. Well, when they're doing phase 3, another company was going in, putting in the telecom service for the next phase, and they dug out the water line. Well, when they broke
every hot water tank.
When they broke out the water line, all that water was coming down that steep hill so fast that we started hearing this weird ping, ping of these water heaters in the houses that were finished and occupied collapsing. It just sucked them in. The vacuum on it was that bad. So I say, if you have a 40-gallon hot water heater, that's 40 gallons of water to sustain you.
Right, and it's the same for people living in high-rise buildings too. If you have the ability to do so, do it.
Yeah.
Because if for some reason you live in a 40-story building and you're at the top 5 floors, you're going to run out of water really fast, because all that water is going to start draining down. Once the water pressure from the main lines drops, you're going to be one of the first ones out of water. Being able to shut your hot water tank off from the outside still gives you 40 gallons of water. Fill up that bathtub while you can. Make sure it is not draining out, and give yourself at least a few extra days worth of water.
And that's where the check valve, little cheap check valve, little brass check valve. You install it. You're not at home. The water line breaks. That check valve automatically just shuts off. You don't have to be there to activate it. It's flow activated.
Yeah,
So
it's got a little ball in there. It's got a little ball in there. And as soon as something goes wrong, it just sucks itself shut.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the easiest way to protect your that supply of water.
Right. It's a very similar valve to the one that's already on there, but at the top end of it for the water to drain out, it's just reversed from that one. All water heaters have a check valve on the top, so you can relieve pressure to work on them. It's similar to valve to that, only it's reversed.
Yeah. Ace Hardware has them. Home Depot, Lowe's, they all have them.
Really simple to put on too.
Yeah. So let's see anything in the side chat. 40 analytics.
Fill up the bathtubs. That's a good one right there.
Yeah.
And they actually make bags to put in the bathtubs.
Yeah, bladders, big old huge bladders. Just fill it up. Keeps because even a bathtub will have the bath has soap scum on it, and you don't want to be drinking that.
No, you don't want to have to make the 50-yard dash to the outhouse by Willie Make It every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And another thing too, as far as those water tablets go, there's 2 different kinds. There's a bleach type tablet, And then there's the iodine type tablets. Get both if you can. The bleach are going to take longer, but it'll have a better taste than the iodine tablets, which only take about 30 minutes. Don't use just one or the other. Try and get both in your stores.
If you
And
have,
if you can, get regular bleach. There is a way to make bleach. And as it was mentioned earlier in side chat, learning how to make the bleach could be a very important thing, because you may be able to provide the bleach to other people, and they may have food you need, and being able to teach them and provide them with bleach to purify their water. It's a way to barter for food.
Now, one of the things to do is when you're just starting your preps, sales at the grocery store, when something comes on sale and it's something you're going to get, instead of getting 2, get 3 or 4. My mom was a couponer and a sale shopper. Yeah, we had a lot of food because she was always buying stuff on sale, buy 2 get 1 free type thing, deals and stuff. And so, yeah, we had a lot of food. Now, the other thing to watch out for, though, just because it's on sale doesn't mean you buy it. If you don't normally eat it, don't get it. Here's the thing to remember. Store what you eat what you store. If you're not eating it, don't store it. Because if you store something you don't like, even though it's cheap, you don't like it, you're most likely not going to eat it.
And another thing, too, is if you're not used to eating it, most people's stomach nowadays are so used to eating one type of thing that when you introduce a different type of food, even though it may be a beef product, but if it's cooked differently or stored differently, your stomach is going to react in a very bad way. And you will be doing that 50-yard outhouse dash.
Yep.
And it'll be quite often.
Which brings something else to put in your preps. Medications like Imodium AD or Pepto-Bismol. And don't forget your painkillers, your ibuprofen, your aspirin, whatever, your
whatever it is you use.
Yeah, simple stuff too.
Have med kits. You don't have to have a big one. Make a little one.
Yep. Actually, this goes back to I'm going to go back to Corsair Trainers again. Steve has been doing a series on Boy Scout merit badges, and he talks about how you use the merit badges to become prepared. Great idea. Who's the most prepared organization in the United States?
Boy
Scouts of America. You got it. The first and most important merit badge that I used to be a scoutmaster, that all my scouts got, the first merit badge was the first aid merit badge. The second one was the emergency preparedness badge. Those were the first 2 badges every scout in my troop got. The first aid merit badge was required for several others. So it's like a prerequisite for several other merit badges. But hey, go out and get the book. It's not that expensive. Go check Steve's.
Not only that, most of the first aid stuff, your local fire departments and stuff like that, they'll give instruction on that, give you your cards absolutely free. Most cases, they'll give classes to teach people how to save somebody's life and get you a first aid card or a CPR card.
Yeah, the CERT program, which is the Community Emergency Response Team, just about every city in the country has it. Their course is a 20-hour course over 6 weeks. But they'll teach you how to do first aid, how to build your own kit, how to do triage, and stuff like that. It's really cool. Get the, that's a thing to do. But, like I was saying, go back to Steve's Corsair Trainers playlist and check on the one for the first aid kit. He goes through and he reads the first aid pamphlet to you and talks about what you need to do, to how to build a first aid kit, and all that other fun stuff.
You can buy those defibrillators pretty cheap, and the firemen and stuff, they'll teach you how to use them.
Yeah, the newest defibrillators actually talk to you. You push a button, it says do this, and how to put the tabs on. When the tabs are on correctly, it says go to the next steps. They'll talk those on the new defibrillators actually talk you through it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something I need to add to my prep kit is an AED, and unfortunately, those are several $100s for ones that are reliable.
Yes.
Let's go back to water for a minute. I was thinking about it. We got off. If you have a basement, make sure you can put 55 gallon plastic drums in your basement and just fill them with water in case something went wrong. Those are perfect. Or even if you live in an apartment building, most of those places give you a storage area down towards the bottom of it. And you could even store water in that thing doing the same thing. If not the 55 gallon drums, you can get like 5 or 10 gallon jugs. They make them just for water.
Yeah.
And you can just stack them in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out to a company who's been a real jerk lately, though. Walmart. Walmart stocks this 7 gallon water jug. It's a blue one, and it's about this big square. Has a handle on it. Screw off the end, fill it up, screw it on, and it has a spigot on it. So and those can be stacked too.
And they're only $14.
Yeah,
I've got 5 of them.
Yeah, and those you can take with you easier if you need to leave. You can carry those out, put them in your car, and take your water supply with you.
Sure, that's the only reason I went back to that is that's real important. Water is going to be a real top priority if something were to go.
Right, just think your rule of threes. Your rule of threes. You can live 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, and about 3 days without hope. I mean, a lot of people who don't have hope don't make it. And as far as one more thing on that water, and I'll let Gil talk. One more thing on that water. If you're going to store water doesn't really go bad. I mean, they found water stored in Egypt that's been in a pot for 1,000 years. It was still drinkable, tasted like crap. There was nothing really wrong with it, but it had a nasty taste.
As long as it's in a cool, dark place. Yep.
Right. Just make sure you put some regular white, clean bleach aside. And it's 8 drops per gallon of water is the recommended from what I've learned over the years. 8 drops of bleach per gallon of water. That'll take any impurities that may be there out, and it'll make it drinkable. And it'll taste just like your tap water.
Hey, we got somebody interesting that just popped into the side chat there.
I saw that.
Yeah, Anthony.
He's cooking.
Doing a lot of cooking at the moment, so it's going to be hit and miss. Okay, he is another really sharp channel to check on, guys, for preparedness and stuff. But on the water, you say, I'm always drinking water here. I have several of these here in my room up here. Fill them up every day. On the water, if you have it stored in your 55 gallon drum, brand new drum, if it's a food grade drum, rinse it out once, put a half cup of bleach in it, slosh it, and then a half gallon of water, slosh it around, drain it out, then just fill it up.
You guys want to know about water catchment? We have somebody that has a really good catchment system. He's out there in the side chat as well. That's Timo.
Okay.
World Without Rule of Law. He has really put together a fantastic water catchment on his homestead.
Cool. So once you fill up your 55 gallon drum, put a quarter cup of bleach in it and then seal it up. Now, in 10 years, if it goes that long, when you go to crack it open, you'll notice that the water level has dropped about an inch or so. It hasn't evaporated. What's happened is the air in the water has slowly come out of the water. So now all that air is at the surface. So basically the water is going to taste really flat and like, real easy to fix. You pour it out, you aerate it, give it a minute or two, and it tastes great. Oh, Anthony, you're so mean. You're making 3 different types of bread for tomorrow.
Yeah, there's going to be a zombie apocalypse at his house, and it's going to be because they're all starving for food.
Yeah, I keep saying he's gonna make some woman a great little housewife.
Actually, he's married.
I know he is. I know he is.
The
She's one spoiled woman.
if you're worried about the flavor of your drinking water, from storing it and how it's going to taste, hey,
Yep, put something in it. Yep.
yeah, exactly. Hey, Tang is probably the best thing because it's loaded with vitamin C.
Hey,
Yeah.
we sent Tang with the astronauts out in space, so it's got to be halfway decent.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a whole week cob loaf.
Cob loaf. Oh,
All right, Palmetto,
okay.
that's enough. That's enough food.
That's enough, Anthony. If you're not going to come up here on the panel, just. But yeah, Anthony just got done building his woodshed for storing his wood for the winter.
I didn't know he could move that fast. Did you see how fast he was going? Oh, man.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so on your preps, you got water's one of your first things. Food, you start enlarging your pantry of what you eat right now. Just slowly add to it, and more add to it. Now, some people are poo-pooing the fact that you don't need to save toilet paper. After the 1971 Sylmar earthquake in Southern California, there was a run on toilet paper. If my mom had been buying the buy two get one free 4 packs, we would have been out of toilet paper because it took 4 weeks for the store to get stock back up for some stupid reason. So yeah. And the sanitation supplies for you guys. Make sure your women have their sanitation supplies. Remember, if mama's not happy, ain't no one going to be happy.
I'm telling you there. Ooh, man. Nothing worse than a woman scorned.
Or not happy because that time of the month is keeping her out of circulation due to lack of feminine hygiene products.
What do you mean you're stocking toilet paper, Steve? You can't go like a little girl?
Hey, Steve may be a Marine, but he's a smart Marine. Just because you're tough doesn't mean you have to tough it out.
They make those hockey pucks now. You can buy 1,000 rolls pretty cheap.
I'll tell you what the best thing to do is take and go out and buy when like Sherman or somebody, or even the don't
Charmin
get the 1
extra
ply
strong.
stuff. Right, but get the 2-ply toilet paper, flatten it out, get yourself an old compressor out of an air conditioner, put those inside a vacuum seal bag. If you flatten them out, suck the air out of it. They're waterproof for now. They're small, and you can shove them underneath your bed.
And they'll reinflate just fine.
Yep.
I don't know. I know they got those little pucks now. I got somewhere in my preps, I got like 400 of them. You just put a little bit of water with them, they go poof. They're out into like a big old rag you can wipe your butt with.
Yeah, and if you start eating food you're not used to eating, you're definitely going to want some TP of some sort.
You don't want to be using pine cones and branch leaves and stuff.
No, because ain't nobody going to want to try and put a Band-Aid on your butt.
And if you happen to grab the wrong leaf and happens to turn out to be poison oak or poison ivy.
Or sumac.
Exactly. You ain't no one going to apply first aid to you.
Well, you better hope you die like a little child then, Steve, because there's going to be a day you're not going to be able to have that expensive stuff.
Yeah, Anthony said he's going to do what they did before the 1900s. Cotton clothes like with babies, baby stuff.
Yeah, baby diapers.
Oh man.
Yeah. Something else you can store too, just for the what I want to put it, hygiene's sake of it and everything else. Put this up here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Amazon, these come up. You get a case of these really cheap.
Oh yeah, those are dirt cheap.
Yeah, and biodegradable, and sometimes it save you instead of using half a roll, 2 of those will clean you up nice.
I have a few of those, a couple of those packages in my in my. God dang it, I can't think tonight.
Yeah,
My
get out of Dodge kit.
my trauma bag.
Yeah. Now, Ryder Dust said, was it Ryder Dust? No, Robert looked wrong. Yeah, Ryder Dust. Baby wipes. The problem with baby wipes are they're usually scented. And if you're also going to be having to hunt for food, you don't want to have that perfumey scent on you when you're out there, because it'll give you away to the deer and the antelope and the other animals like that. They'll smell you coming.
And it might just be the right type of smell to attract a bear. The last thing you want chasing you down.
Exactly.
Hi, old man. How you doing?
Because bears, on the other hand, while most animals will flee, bears will come check it out, just like raccoons will. And that's the last thing you want coming to disturb your sight, especially if it's the end of civilization and you're having to use something like this. You want to make sure nothing knows you're there, because you're going to need to get, this will reach out to 80 yards pretty respectively with the right tips, but you're not going to want to be using a gun. You're going to want something that's nice and quiet.
Yeah.
And you don't want to smell.
Let's see what we have. Best way to get. All right. All I know is when I used to go hunting, the one deodorant we were told to use when a group of us went for 3 days beforehand was Menon Unscented. Because even though you switch immediately, your body still has the perfumey, a little bit of the perfumey smell on it. Colognes and stuff, don't even bother stocking those, because you don't want to have those on you. Because someone smells, someone's got cologne and perfume. They must have a lot of food. Let's go take it.
Yeah, you use it for barter. If you keep it, use it for barter. Don't use it on yourself.
Yeah.
Always keep a set of ragtag clothes handy that looks like you ain't had a bath in 3 or 4 weeks. Let your hair get greasy a little bit. If you really want to pull off the I ain't got nothing look, make sure your clothes are 2 sizes too big now. Get yourself some Crisco and use Crisco to make your hair look greasier than heck. Make it all disheveled. Put on those baggy clothes and walk around, and people think, man, he ain't got crap. Let's just leave him alone.
Yeah.
And don't forget to mutter to yourself the entire time.
Dress down.
Yep.
Yeah, I was Prepping in Progress just did a video on Gray Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good video, good points on it. The Gray Man is what you want to appear. Someone who just blends into the background.
You want to be forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Camouflage is not always woodland, green, browns, and stuff like that. Camouflage is what fits into the area you're at to make you just blend in and disappear.
Yeah, like if you're walking down the street, just dress down like everybody else,
Yeah. I mean, literally, how many of you can remember what the last homeless person you saw looked like? That's pretty good. You make yourself look kind of homeless and everything. People are going to turn their head away. It's a natural reaction, and they're just not going to pay attention to you.
There's actually a few good YouTube videos out there on the Gray Man thought process. Take a little bit from each one of those, because there's some of those that are over the top, way extreme, and then there's some that don't give enough information.
I remember the homeless people out in Washington. They all looked disheveled. Their clothes looked like they hadn't been washed in a week and stuff. they'd sit there on corners and beg for money and food. A lot of them I would see just at the end of the day get up and walk over to their motor home, crawl in there, and take off.
Rider dust? Nah, I would stay away from the dog poop smell because if you want to disappear, that smell is still going to give you away. But thing is, though, it's don't put on any cologne, no perfume. Whatever soap you're going to use, plain unscented soap.
The best
might be hiding John Wick.
The best soap that I found, and this is just me personally, and I don't have it within reach to show it. Omega Survival Supply Company in Dayton, Ohio, turned me on to it. It is a waterless soap and shampoo. It has absolutely no smell to it. You don't need water to wash with it, and it's scentless, so you can actually still stay clean without having to waste water, and you don't smell like you're clean. That way you can throw a little Crisco in your hair, throw on your bag of clothes, and people will forget about you because they're going to turn their nose up at you. The average person in this day and age pays no attention to the people they turn their nose up at.
Yeah, one of the other things too, I was just looking at the side chat here. WV Prepared Mind. For the women, definitely baggy clothes,
Corsets.
Mess up your hair real good,
Pull your hair back in ponytail so you can tuck it in or cut it off, and then wear a floppy boonie type hat. Something that'll just hide who you are. You don't want to appear to be a woman. No makeup, no lipstick, no mascara. I keep telling my wife that, anyways. All that stuff makes you look like. Oh, I'm not going to go into it here.
It looks like you got something.
Well, this normally makes people look like they're easy and a floozy, but yeah, you want to be no makeup or anything. If you do any makeup job, you make you out like if you're a good Hollywood artist. Get that hollow, sunken look around your eyes. Hollow out your cheeks. So it basically looks like you're starving.
Yes, I do, Anthony. Yes, I do. And for the women who are not overly well endowed, not trying to be too personal or graphic there, but a corset. The nasty old things that they used to make women wear back in the old days where two people got together and they were pulling on them strings so doggone tight the girl couldn't breathe. But that's another way to hide essentially what you have. And for guys that have pot bellies like I do, that are starting to run over top of their belt, they make them for men too. If you want to make it look like you've lost weight even though you haven't, get one for yourself too, because you can suck that gut in, put that on, and it looks like you've lost weight even though you actually haven't.
There's also, you can go to like the pharmacies, like Walgreens, whatever. They have those back braces, those elastic ones. Put those on, it just kind of sucks everything up and tightens and stiffens your back. The other thing to consider in trying to, trying to make yourself, gray man, get rid of all your bright colored clothes. You want to have grays, browns, dark green, the darker colors.
Dingy looking.
And that way, you're not, because if someone's out there running around in a white T-shirt with a big old logo on it and stuff, and you're out there in a shirt like Will has on there, just a gray, a brown sweatshirt, who's going to draw more attention? The white, bright T-shirt with a fancy logo on it.
That's why some militaries went. Go ahead, Will.
They have these elastic things that you can put around your belly now. It'll kind of suck it in, but at the same time, leaves enough room for you to be able to slip a pistol or something in there. Yeah. So you can actually look slimmer and also be able to take care of yourself at the same time.
Yeah, like I was going to say, that's why some militaries, when they train for urban environments, they have changed their typical camo colors to the black, purples, and grays because those blend in far better in an urban environment than virtually any other color. Hence where the original gray man thought process came from. And if military is doing it, then there's a good reason why we as civilians should also do it.
Yeah, when I first started, 35 years ago, when I first started hunting, I had, the green camouflage, Realtree stuff. And then Realtree came out for a short time with a gray version.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was hunting deer at up in the Sierras, there was a lot of granite up there. And so I got one switched to the gray ones. And when I laid down on the granite, you couldn't see me. It just, because it would just look, I was like a granite with a little bit of green brush, on it, and I just blended right in. So, gray, the gray camouflage work get there, but most of your cities, you look at most of your buildings in your cities like San Francisco, New York, stuff. What color are the buildings?
Brownish gray.
Gray, yeah. Mm-hmm. Especially the new ones, concrete gray. Full ghillie suit in New York City. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. The type of ghillie suit you want in New York City is called homeless.
Yep. Wear a garbage bag. They'll think you're homeless.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. I meant to talking to someone else this there. When you're don't get the fancy rain gear if you're going to be around people. Garbage bags. You can find some real heavy duty construction ones, and you just you cut out make it like a poncho out of it. And if you're wearing that and someone else has a nice raincoat, who are they going to go after?
Raincoat.
The raincoat.
And no, we're not referring to the red coats, although it sounds like they may be coming back too.
Oh, what else we got here in the side chat? Oh, sports bra. Going back to the women. Ace bandages.
And they make them in all different widths.
Maybe a couple. Wrap the girls up, flatten them out a little bit. That way you're not, you're wearing baggy clothes, add the extra way to hide it so you're not jiggling and wiggling as you're walking.
That way you can make yourself up to be a man.
Almost.
Yep. They won't mess with you if you're a man.
And teenage girls especially are going to hate this. Wrap them up, cut the hair, clean the makeup off, dirt on the face. Do not look attractive. You don't want to advertise a neon sign up to saying, "Ooh, I'm a girl, come take me."
Because that's exactly what's going to happen. There's going to be a lot of very unscrupulous people out there. People that right now, due to laws, don't pursue that avenue. But once rule of law breaks down, they're not going to be so nice. They're going to take what they want. And if they see you as a target, unless you got friends with you, you're done. There's no sugarcoating to it. If you're a small, young thing and you look like you've got something that they want, they're going to take it. Let's be frank about it. So the best thing to do is train, learn some Krav Maga, some hand training, whatever you can. Go to a martial arts studio and watch. If you can't afford to join, go there and watch. Most senseis don't have a problem. Most senseis don't have a problem with you watching, as long as you're not trying to repeat what they're teaching. Just watch and then go home and in your own private space, get a small punching bag. Heck, you can get punching bags off Wish. You can buy sand at Lowe's, or go get some dirt out of the backyard, fill up that punching bag with dirt, and just start slowly practicing on that punching bag.
Go watch Corsair Trainer's series on self-defense. He's got a whole series on how to take care of yourself.
Rider Dust has a good idea right there, too. Go watch some MMA. Those boys don't hold nothing back. They go all at it. And while not actually physically doing it yourself, you're not learning the muscle memory, having the mental memory of seeing it done, learning what moves to do is a start. It's a way to start learning. Then when you can start building up muscle memory to do it, then do it.
Yeah. One of the things to do is we used to teach, especially for the women, your car keys. Yeah. Put them in your hand. Have a couple of them poking through as you're going to the car.
A rolled up magazine with a rubber band around it is a baton.
Yeah. Don't carry the key. Don't carry the key like this. Carry it like this. You can still put it in to turn it, but you can also jab somebody with it if you need to.
And I know a lot of guys are going to cringe right now, but women, if you don't know how to fight and you got a guy getting a hold of you, whatever you can do, grab him by the hose and squeeze for everything you're worth. Because most guys, I don't care how big they are, they will at least let you go for a second to get your hands off of them. As soon as they let go, take your elbow and go right for the throat. Don't hesitate. Don't stop. Go right for the throat. Get them choking for a second. It gives you a chance to put distance between you and them. If you've done it right, they're not going to bother you again. They're going to take off and go.
Reminds me of Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality, when she winds up having to give the demonstration there because the girls drank all the water for her talent thing. She had the guy come out there and she did the self-defense thing with the instep, knees, solar plexus, all the stuff to hit, to get away from somebody. Out of curiosity and a phone, would you buy electricity and stuff? Trying to set up your own after the event power plant there.
A lot of that would depend on the location, the ability to transmit it without it being siphoned off, and what you charged.
Yeah. All right, Steve.
And yes.
For the women, you could also make sure you're carrying a blade with you.
Now, something else that women normally carry, or at least used to normally carry, which is really cool, hairspray. If you have a lighter and a hairspray, instant torch.
Yeah, Aquanet was great for that. I used to play with Aquanet, a lighter as a kid.
They all have those pump bottles now.
Yeah, but the aerosol Aquanet was the biggest, baddest blowtorch there was.
You know what? If you're fighting for your life, it doesn't matter if it's in its little pump bottle or not. Take and squeeze the bottle so hard that it pops that top off and then light it as it's flowing. You'll douse them in fuel and you can run.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes to survive. Because if there's no rule of law, you ain't going to have to worry about the cops coming to arrest you because cops aren't going to show up no matter what. You do what you need to do to survive.
Yep.
West Virginia prepared mind. Yes. A Marine son is great, but have him teach you now.
Hand to hand.
Exactly. And how to use a rifle, how to use everything he learned. Have him start teaching you now.
It's never too old to learn.
Yeah, because he won't always be there either,
Yeah. Just so everyone knows, Corsair's trainer was a Marine as well.
Yeah, he's out there bragging it up.
Yeah.
Hey, come on, let that poor Marine have his moment.
Yeah. Well, I like I've talked in some of the other chats and stuff and on the things here. I never got a chance to serve. I aced the battery aptitude test. I was going to go in when my mom came down with lymphoma cancer, so I stayed and helped her out and stuff. However, I did marry a staff sergeant who was in a unit of drill sergeants.
That'll do it.
Well, you guys saw her on Monday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Will and Dave, you saw when she came in here. Yep. And she's a lefty who qualified expert for M16,
which is no easy task.
Exactly.
Nothing like having that hot lead smack in your face every time you take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I went through basic with a few lefties, and one of them had real severe issues. He got one shell right smack dab in his eye.
Ow.
Yeah, he was let go immediately because it caused some pretty severe damage. But they were at least kind enough to him. They gave him a full medical discharge in the whole 9 yards, and they didn't berate him one bit.
Yeah, I have one nephew who was in the Navy as a temporary active reserve for 25 years. I have another nephew who was artillery for the Marines, and another one that was a Air Force fighter jock.
All right, Corsair. Yes, we know the left people use the right side of their brain. So, what's your point?
Lefties are demigods.
We're right up his alley now. We released Animal.
No,
All
see
right.
what we've done is we've actually put him in the proper mindset. So now we just put him in front of all of us, hand him an M16, an M60, and an M50 in a line, and just let all the zombies come. Because the mood he's in right now, he'll take them all out, and we ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah. Question I have is, so if right-handed people are prominently left side of their brain and left-handed people are prominently right side, what about us ambidextrous? We use our whole brain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see this. Take this down just a little bit.
My favorite weapon in basic was the M203. M16 with a 40 millimeter grenade launcher tucked underneath. Boom, boom,
Yes.
bang.
Yeah, Steve, we'll bring the ammo for you.
Well, see, that's the thing. You left-handed people using the right side of your brain are the ones that the ambidextrous people sent out to do our dirty work for us.
What about us illiterate people?
We got you in the back, taking care of you're watching our backs up front, so you're good.
Or reloading
good.
magazines. Now, my favorite weapon I want to get, what I would like to get, is that bad boy there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Reach out there and touch someone gun.
that is the 20 millimeter rifle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After everything else is done here at my homestead and everything else is done, that's what I'm saving up for.
That's your next big toy.
That'll be my last big toy.
Yeah, that's something I can't have here. There's no way I could carry that into my apartment without somebody around here throwing an absolute conniption fit. When they find out I got this crossbow, they're going to start calling the office. And, well, unfortunately, the office can't do nothing about it because, A, it's not considered in the state of Ohio a hazardous weapon. It's not. Crossbows are not a hazardous weapon. They're not a firearm. So it's also still legal there. And I have it for protection. Because the nice thing about this little Cold Steel 130, it's real simple.
Corsair just told him to stay in the back and make more bread.
I can load it real fast. And it's quiet.
To Anthony.
That's Anthony, being the illiterate guy you claim to be. I guess that means you're going to be our cook.
No. I need somebody that likes cooking to cook because I like my food.
Oh,
my food's got to taste good.
Anthony loves to cook.
No, see, we don't want him doing what he loves to do because we want him motivated. Getting him to cook once a week is a motivation to do the other stuff. I'm kidding, of course.
Oh, shit, there goes the neighborhood. Wes is here.
Uh-oh. Hey, Wes.
Hey, Wes.
Yep.
Anthony says he'll cook his off.
Army. Oh, you're in a bad place. We're in the Marine Corps here tonight.
He said he married Army.
Hey, my staff sergeant was the 91st Division Army.
Yep. This we'll defend. Army motto. I took that oath and never relinquished it. I took an oath to defend this country against terrorists, foreign and domestic. I've never relinquished it. I never will.
There we go. I'm not even cooking when it falls off. So a little bit back to the beginning of your preps and stuff. Something that you should all consider is the having a brain fart here. Basically, it's the white gas little backpacking stove, but it not only burns white gas, it burns diesel, it burns olive oil. You can put gasoline in it, but it's very dangerous, and I wouldn't recommend it. But you pump it up, and it preheats the fuel, and you can always find fuel for one of these stoves. They're great. They're the backpacker stoves that have the liquid canisters that you fill yourself, and you can get some pretty hot flames out of there. They're lightweight, and that way, because if power is out and you've been cooking on an electric range, you ain't got nothing to cook on.
That's for sure.
The other thing that's not quite as good is another backpacking stove. It's the ones that screw onto the small propane heads, like the Jetboils and some of the others. They also have adapters for those to go on your regular green, standard, Coleman propane 1 pound propane bottles you get in Walmart, Home Depot, or wherever. They have the little adapters, so you can use those as well. But they're really cool, actually. Where is it here? Pull out my little bag here.
I just posted a link to a website that will go through a lot of the multi-fuel camping stoves, so you guys can go take a look and do some reading.
This is a camping stove. In fact, this is going to be one of the ones
Oh,
giveaway
that looks like mine.
for when I do my 1,000 giveaway challenge.
That's the same one I got in my bag.
Yep. So if I get up here, there's the thread fitting for it for one of the small containers. This thing here, everything just kind of get up here. Everything just kind of spreads around. Has the thing, but this one here has a pezzo lighter. No matches required. You just get a little spark. I can try and get it where to show the spark. See that little spark there?
That thing will shock you too if you put your fingers in the wrong.
Yeah. I got this off of Amazon, $7.95. And then the top here also, these things here flip out, so it makes it bigger to hold a bigger pot. The $7 for $7. This is a really cheap prep.
Yep. And you can find them on Wish website cheaper. It's the exact same thing. It's just going to take you a month to get it.
Yeah.
But just make sure if you're going to get something like that, you stock up with several cans of fuel.
Yeah.
And if you get the adapters so you can use other types of fuel, get a couple cans of each fuel. That way you're not solely relying on one. Because if the grid goes down, there's no trucks moving anymore because of EMP, CME, whatever, or just total government shutdown and everything stops because there's no communication. The first things hit is going to be Walmart. Then they're going to hit the Home Depots and Lowe's. And people like me, I'm going to Lowe's first because I've already got enough stuff. I don't have to go to Walmart right now. I'll go to Walmart to see what's left after everybody else has done ransacking the place.
Yeah.
So go get you some fuels. I've got one of those, I don't know, it's about that big. It's one of them camping stoves that takes, 1 pound butane bottles, the green ones. I've got like 12 bottles of that. I've got the stove. I've actually had to use it to heat my apartment in the middle of winter last year because it got so cold here. So, I mean, don't just store the stuff for food. You can use them if you got ventilation to warm your place as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry.
Jerry's Woodshop. Hey, Jerry.
Hey.
Didn't I
What?
raid you this morning? Yeah, it was you I raided.
Yes, it is.
So, West Virginia Prepared Mind. Did your son marry her? Did he marry the mama? Yeah. That's one thing most people don't think about when it comes to a, SHTF or Tawaki event is infants, little kids, newborns.
And the needs.
Yeah. Well, one of the things probably it was kind of mentioned before was the cloth diapers. They're more, that's something probably to use more of. When my wife and I first had our first child, our daughter, we were real tight on our budget, and we used the cloth diapers because, hey, you clean them off, throw in the washer, boom, and you're not spending $20 for 20 of them or 15 of them or whatever, and you just reuse them and reuse them and reuse them. When kids are all grown up, hey, guess what? You got good cleaning rags.
Yeah, seriously, one of the stores that it'll probably be untouched the first 24 hours of a grid down situation. It's a lot of people won't think Sears. Unfortunately, the Sears near me is gone. So yeah. I'm kind of SOL on that one myself.
Yeah, they closed ours too.
Now, one of the things talking about places you would go afterwards, just in time prepping, Will up there. 3 weeks ago, we had it, the one on where we would go to salvage materials after a major event. And so that'd be a pretty good live stream to go back and review. Well, we had 6 of us on that one. So, yeah, we covered a lot of different places to go to and what type of equipment to pick up after an event. And it's after a major event where everything's down and we're not going to be recovering for years.
Yeah. And another thing, and it's one thing I've mentioned in several other people's live streams, and I've mentioned it back when I was still with X Nation, which I'm now Persona non grata, and that's okay. I don't care. Irregardless of what happened between me and X Nation, if you want to learn stuff, you want a vast amount of information, go check out X Nation's most recent video, PrepRex. I think it was actually on PrepRex's channel. His most recent video. Go join their Discord. They are a great group of people. They have a lot of information. This man has got more PDF files than any man should be allowed to, and that's because of what he does for a living.
What kind of tequila, Wes? Which flavor?
But one thing that nobody ever seems to talk about, if we're not getting power back, what's all that crap above our heads going to be doing? Sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Pull that wire down. Get somebody that can melt it down, mix it with a little bit of tin or something, and create your soup bowls, your plates, your weapons, your knives and stuff. That copper can be melted down, and you can create virtually everything you need because we did have a copper age many millennia back. And that copper can be used for all kinds of stuff. And we've got tons of it sitting above our heads, literal tons. So why not use it?
I think moonshine would be easier, a bigger commodity than tequila, Wes.
I'm thinking Everclear.
Because you'd be able to use it to fire up stuff and everything.
Yeah,
Everclear will run an engine.
Okay, typo video I recommended. Okay, give me a minute here. I'm going to go over here on my other screen here and go back to just-in-time prepping and see if I can find that exact one. Okay. Drop that down. Get the other one up.
Yeah, Everclear would be pretty good, but Everclear is pretty close to what moonshine is.
Yeah, Everclear is 180 proof or 90% alcohol. You can use it in your wood burning, your alcohol stoves. Use it for first aid treatment. Okay, that was just some time prepping.
You haven't found that yet?
Yeah,
He's old.
Hey,
I've got. I got to get to Will's site. Now I'm on Will's site. I'll find it up. That's the. Oh shoot, which one was it here?
It'll be under the Monday playlist.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Monday playlist.
Should be third one down. Should be
Machines.
from the bottom.
That's machines. That's bushcrafting.
And I agree. Anybody that can make Everclear moonshine or any distilled liquor, even beer, if you've got the hops and grains to make beer, you're going to have a very sellable commodity.
Okay.
Well, see, that's the nice thing about here in Ohio. I can actually get a bathtub still and make my own alcohol in my house here in Ohio. It's perfectly legal. There's stores that sell everything I need. It's just not cheap.
Look it up on YouTube, Jerry.
Trying to find it here.
You can find anything on YouTube, Jerry. They ought to show you how to make moonshine on YouTube.
Salvage, here it is, 3 weeks ago. All right, let me bring this up here. And I'll put the link to this one here. There we go. Boom. Control-C.
But in a grid down situation, I don't think it's really going to matter. If somebody's an alcoholic, they're going to pay just as much for that bottle of beer you got sitting there as they would for a bottle of.
No love for X. I didn't know we were talking about him a lot.
No, I did a moment. But any type of alcohol for an alcoholic, they're going to pay highly for it because they have the mental need for it.
All right, there's the link to that one. It was 3 weeks ago. And there we go. Should be popping up there any second. There it is. Yeah, we came up with a lot of interesting different things to things you'd want to go salvage after the balloon has gone up.
And when it comes to salvage, you really need to think outside the box because the things that you would not want to even touch right now, as far as stuff, are going to be things that are going to be important. Excuse me.
Night, Pennsylvania.
Good night, Pennsylvania Prepper.
I didn't see that. Sorry. Good night. Trying to keep up with that chat, and sometimes I fall.
Now, the other interesting thing about like Everclear or moonshine, it also makes a great deodorant, believe it or not, because it kills all the bacteria in your pits and other places that sweat and stink. Just rub it on and let it do its thing. Hey, if it kills all the bugs on a thermometer, it's going to help you keep from stinking up the place.
It's medicinal in more ways than one.
Yep.
It's good for cuts, burns, bullet wounds. Oh, I didn't say that out loud, did I? No, that's the last thing you're going to want. Grid goes down as a bullet wound. You might as well just write yourself off unless you're around some very highly skilled medical equipment and people.
Yeah. And that was one of the previous ones we talked about was who to get into your group. Forming what's called a MAG or a MAC, which is a mutual assistant group or a mutual assistant community. Banding together and getting like-minded people together to either meet somewhere else or there are some mags and Macs that actually you buy membership in them, and they have land out a ways, and they have people that watch the news feeds and are ready to,
They have
If-
meetup locations.
yeah. And if something goes south, they're letting you know before it hits, the major news streams.
That's a good thing to think about.
Just get yourself a good medical bag. I've got stuff in here I can't personally use. But see, I know a doctor that lives 5 miles from me. I've talked to him once, and I've got equipment in here that he can use. And if the grid goes down and he can't get to his equipment, I've got stuff that he can use to help patch people up. And in turn, I've got a place to store stuff. So, that's a mutual aid right there in a little bit of itself. He doesn't believe the grid will ever go down or the balloon will ever go up, but
Another thing you should
It's like a life insurance policy.
is make sure that you're getting communication devices. The big thing would be to get your ham license. They're only $15.
Yeah.
And you can talk almost all across the United States with that. So
Yeah.
say the balloon went up and you were in a mag or a Mac or whatever, and you needed to know whether that location had been compromised or not, you could use your ham license to contact those people.
Yeah, I did a 2-part series on emergency communications and prepping in progress. Just really did today put out one on ham radio and comms, and he talks about it. There are basically in ham radio. There are 3 licenses you get. First one is a technician, which my wife has. Next one is a general, which I have, and then there's extra, which is the top license for ham radio. And
They can do anything.
yeah, and so ham radio license is not that hard to get. I used to teach the Boy Scouts, and the classes I taught, I had an 85% success rate in them passing their license on the first try. So there's a whole bunch of it. Ham radio is the original social media because everybody used to talk on it and communicate and chit chat. It was like the old fashioned telephone party lines, only much bigger and much farther.
They still do it. And they even have groups on YouTube that.
Yeah. So it's not that hard. And equipment, you can get a basic ham radio for $100. That covers the 2 most popular frequencies, which is 2 meter and 440. You go to more less used frequencies, such as the 220, you can get a 10-pack for $100.
I don't know how they're going to be able to cut the
They
radio.
can't.
They won't be able to cut the radios, West Virginia Prepper. They won't be able to cut it off. There'd be no way.
Yeah. In fact, they're going to be relying on it to gather information. It is that was one of the big things I proposed when I was working for Homeland Security. It's going to be used. The military uses ham radio as their backup. It's called MARS. Homeland Security, TSA, Border Patrol, they
FEMA.
all use ham radio MARS as their backup.
So there's no way they can stop doing it. They wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, it runs off the air.
Yeah, it's
As long as they have electricity, they'll be able to use it.
and once HSTF happens and the phones go down, there's a whole bunch more frequencies that we can use.
Yeah, because there ain't nobody going to give a rat's butt. They're just going to want information.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, I'm going to have to cut out of here.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah, it's 9:14
Yeah, it is getting
here.
too late.
Yeah.
So, all right.
So,
go ahead.
Before we all cut out, let you guys know Monday, same time we started here at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain.
Over at my house.
Exactly, over there at Will, and just in time prepping. And I'm hoping that in a couple weeks I might be able to start up a Saturday night survival Saturday thing here.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. We could have 3 houses to go to. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. You guys have a great holiday, okay? Merry,
Yeah.
You too, Will.
Happy Thanksgiving to the whole room, as a matter of fact, and I'll see you guys next time.
For me, I might release the video on this early. It's already edited and everything. So I may go ahead and put the video for this up tomorrow so people can look at it over the next few days. I was blessed to receive that for T&E, and I get to use it for the next several months to play around with it and bring it to you guys. And so look for the video tomorrow.
Quick before you kill it, Corsair Trainer just said that brought up the point that a lot of local sheriffs use it. The CERT programs, a lot of cities use it as their backup as well. Sheriff Search and Rescue is on ham radio. So yeah, it is entrenched. It is never going away, no matter what Governor Gavin Newsom tried to do in California. All the ham radio operators gave him the one finger salute when he said the state's not going to allow it anymore.
Yeah.
You can't say that. It's federally run. States have no say in it.
Right.
All righty. See you all later.
Take it easy, yo. All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody showing up, coming by, and we'll do this again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Y'all be blessed. Have a great holiday tomorrow. Share the love with your family and friends. Remember, if you prepare for most everything, you'll be prepared for most anything. Be safe. Keep them loaded. Keep them safe. Later.